Hello and welcome to Basics by B. I'm Buntle and this is my channel. In today's tutorial, I make this very cute beige feather top that I wore as, it almost looks like a dress, but it's actually a top, but you can always just dress it up with some pants. It happened to be one of the easiest projects I've ever had to do. It took me an hour to do and yeah, pretty basic. And enjoy the video, subscribe, like the works. What I want is a top with feathers and then a crisscross back. I'm going to do a really rough drawing of this. So the front is going to be a plain old rectangle, and then it's going to have a dot here just under the nipples. Then on top of the rectangle, I am going to attach 3 rows of feathers going across the top like that. So the first row would have feathers that go up like that. So essentially the top needs to be quite full, and then the back of the top is just going to be split like that. Basically it's going to look like this. It doesn't mean it's split, it's connecting to the front. And then I'm going to add these loops on the top like that, and then just attach string, not string, but I'm going to create a strapping for this that's going to just go like that. And what you need for this is the fabric that you're going to use. I'm using this traditional shwe fabric, and I actually already made a skirt using this, so I want a matching top, which is why I'm making this. You're also going to need the fabric you're going to use as your lining. I'm just going to use this fabric. It's a scrap piece of fabric that I found. And then you're going to need feathers of your choice. I chose nude beigey feathers to match the color of my top. Scissors as usual, and a measuring tape. Okay, so it's not too many things that you need. It's just the fabric, the lining, feathers, scissors, and a measuring tape. That's all you need. Okay, so I'm just going to explain my measurements as well as how I'm going to cut out my fabric. So I need a bust measurement, so the circumference of my bust, which is 84 centimeters, and then my nipple to nipple measurement, which is literally from my one nipple to the other nipple, is 16 centimeters. And then I'm gonna cut out my print fabric, and then I'm gonna cut out my lining fabric. So this fabric is my print fabric, that's my lining. So I'm gonna use 79 centimeters because it's my 84 centimeters, which is my bust measurement, minus 5 centimeters to get the 79 centimeters. And then 28 centimeters is the measurement from above my bust down to my belly button. So it's about 26 centimeters. Then I added like 2 centimeters seam allowance. But that's really up to you how much of the fabric you want to use or how much you want to cover up your body. So if you want to cover from the above your bust down to your waist, then I would increase this, but I want it to be like a crop top. So I do this for both my print and my lining. And then for the straps, I am going to cut out 150 centimeters by 1.5 centimeters. So it's going to be quite a thin strap, but I'm going to use it for both my loops on the back, and I'm going to use it for the actual strapping at the back. And then my feathers, they usually come in like a ribbon like this. So my ribbon is about 160 centimeters long. So this is all I'm going to need, just my 2 prints, my long strapping, and my feathers. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to start by doing is creating my dots for the print and the lining. Whatever I do to the print, I have to do to the lining. So I'm going to fold my fabric in half, so it's going to be around there. And then for my nipple to nipple measurement is 16 centimeters. So from here, I'm going to move 8 centimeters to the side here and 8 centimeters to this side. So that's going to be 16 centimeters. And then at the bottom of the fabric, so here, 16 centimeters, I'm going to create a dot. So my dot's going to be about 10 centimeters high, and then 2 centimeters wide. Okay, so I just quickly did my dot drawings. I'm going to add 2 dots on each side, 10 centimeters high and 2 centimeters wide. Yeah, it just creates a better shape and you don't have gaps in between your top. It's just like a nicer fitted top and not one that fits weirdly. I'm going to repeat the dots on my lining. Okay, so I've cut out my 2 pieces of fabric using my measurements, so 79 by 28 centimeters across. And then with the strapping, I've cut out my long piece of strapping, which is 150 centimeters long, and then it's 1.5 centimeters across here. Then what you want to do is just fold 0.5 centimeter in on each side of the piece that you've cut out, like that. You do that the whole way and then just iron it down so that it doesn't come out of place. And then once you're done with this, you want to fold this again in half to make it a thinner, dainty strap. And then you're just going to use your sewing machine and sew a straight stitch really close to the edge here, just to close that strap up. But it needs to be about 0.5 centimeter wide once you're done, so that it just has a neater finish and you don't see the inside of the straps. Okay, so now I'm going to work on my dots. I took my print fabric and I just folded my print fabric in half, and then I'm going to measure 8 centimeters to each side. So that's 8 centimeters to there, and then 8 centimeters on the other side as well. This is going to create the dot. So I measure 10 centimeters going up from the bottom to 10 centimeters like that, and then my dot is going to be 2 centimeters wide. So okay, so now once you've drawn in your 2 dots, you may want to like sew them. So I'm going to sew in my 2 dots and repeat the same process on my lining fabric, where I fold it in half and I draw in my 2 dots at 16 centimeters wide and 10 centimeters high. So from here, 8 centimeters across to there, and then 1 centimeter on each side.
Then 10 centimeters high, so then I have a dot.
Okay, so I've just created my 2 dots. You can't really see them, but this is what they look like underneath. It's just sewing a triangle just to create some shaping to the top. I need to flip my print and my lining good sides facing together. So for your lining, your good side will be the side that's flat, that doesn't have the extra fabric from the dot. So you want to align both your dots and then good sides facing together. My fabric's not straight, but anyway. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a zigzag stitch to attach the lining to my print, but I'm only going to do the bottom of the top, and I'm also going to do the top. I'm not going to do the sides yet because I want to attach the loops. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to use a zigzag stitch, or you can use your overlocker if you have one, but my overlocker isn't set up yet, so I'm just going to use a zigzag stitch. I've just attached my lining to my print using a zigzag stitch along the edge of the top. It looks a little dodgy, but once you flip it over, it's actually pretty neat and you can't really see that it's a mess on the inside, so no one's gonna know. But yeah, now I'm gonna start working on my loops that I'm gonna add to my top. I'm gonna cut about 6 centimeter loops. So I'm gonna need about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 loops on each side. Would that look nice? Or should I do 6 each? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'm gonna need 6 on each side, so I'm gonna cut 12 pieces. And and I'm really just measuring out, I think 6 or 7 centimeters of this. Let's make it 7 centimeters. So, okay, now that I've cut out all 10 pieces, this is a little tricky because you want to have the loop on the outside, but because our outside is actually on the inside of our top, we need to put our loops on the inside. So, I feel like I just contradicted myself, but fold it in half and then make sure that the loop is sitting sideways. You're going to put it through the top here, and then you make sure that there's only a tiny bit that's sticking through the top. So you pin it down into place like that. Then you repeat the same thing for all your loops. I've attached my loops on the inside of the top. I've done 5 on this side, and then I've done the other 5 on this side. I'm going to just do a zigzag stitch similar to what I've done on the side here, but it's very, very, very important to leave some space. So I would say leave this much space so that you can flip your top inside out once you're done sewing it. So I'm going to do like a 1 centimeter stitch to there, just to enclose that loop. Then I'm going to leave the space open, and then I'm going to sew all the way down to the bottom, and then on this side all the way down to the bottom, because everything will go through this space here. So zigzag stitch or a straight stitch, it really doesn't matter. I actually think I'm going to do a straight stitch just to make sure that it's closed. Okay, so then you find that little entrance that you created here, and you want to just flip your top inside out using this. Because mine is a little too small and this fabric is not the softest, it's going to take me much longer. So I'm just going to fast forward this part where I flip this inside out. So this inside part needs to come out. It helps if you have like a pair of scissors or something to flip this inside out. Once you've flipped your top inside out, this is what it looks like. So you have your loops on the outside like so. So from the back you'll have your loops that go into here. You're going to have your strapping that's going to go through your loops here, and then the front, well, you won't really be able to see the front because I'm going to be attaching these feathers onto here. So that's what I'm going to work on now. Basically, I'm just going to have about 3 or 4 rows of feathers going across, and then I just cut, and then I repeat the same process. Like so. So now that I've added the strapping, I'm ready to add my feathers. So I've cut my feathers into strips that are about that long, which go from one side of my body to the other side. And I repeat, so I have about 4 strips at the moment, and that's all I need actually for the top. So I'm gonna just pin them down so that the feathers are curving in towards my body for the top strip, like so. I don't want my feathers to curve out like that. I'm not a huge fan of that. I think they would look better if they were curved into the body. Okay, and my first row is going to go slightly below. I don't want it at the top, it's going to go onto my face if I do. Just slightly below the bust is going to go I'm going to put my first row here, and then I have 3 more rows that are going to go under that, and then my last row would go right along the bottom of the top. It's best to start at the top. It's easier to sew the feathers at the top, then move down. I want to use my sewing machine, but I'm not going to sew all the way across. I'm just going to sew each side down, and then I'll find like 2 or 3 other points in between and just do like a small little stitch, so that if I want to wear this outfit again and I don't want the feathers, it's easier for me to take them off. But yeah, so I'm just gonna pin them down. So this is what the first row of feathers looks like. I'm just going to do a straight stitch about 1 centimeter long on each side, and then I'm going to do a straight stitch here, here, and there. I'm going to repeat the same process for all 4 of my rows, and then the top is done. I've just finished making the feather top, and this is what it looks like. This is what the back looks like once it's on. It's a crisscross strappy back. I really do love it. It's really giving modern, it's really giving dramatic, it's giving expensive, you know what I mean? So yeah, I love it. I really do love it. It looks like a dress at the moment, but it's actually a 2-piece, but I prefer to tuck in the ribbon. I don't know if I'm too much of a fan of this ribbon sticking out. I can always wear this top with a pair of jeans or some tailored pants if I'm going out on a date or going out with the girls for drinks, you know. So yeah, it's finished.